Disney World was built on 43 square miles of swamp. Not meadow, not farmland. Swamp. Stagnant water in every direction, exactly the kind of terrain where mosquitoes breed by the billions. 80 species live within miles of the property. 58,000 visitors walk through open-air pathways every single day in the middle of a Florida summer. And somehow, almost nobody gets bitten. We assumed the answer was pesticide, some industrial-grade chemical sprayed across the park after closing time. Disney cannot do that. 58,000 people a day, including small children eating from open-air food carts, touching every surface. Spraying the kind of insecticide used in a warehouse would create more problems than any mosquito ever could. So what are they actually doing? 5 layers, each one stranger and cheaper than the last. One is a drainage system that has been running on gravity alone for over 50 years without a single electrical input. One is a spray made from garlic, calibrated at a concentration our noses cannot detect. And one involves live chickens hidden in coops around the property whose blood gets drawn and tested every single week for diseases we would never know were there. And the reason all 5 layers exist traces back to a hospital in Panama that accidentally killed the patients it was trying to save. In 1882, the French built a state-of-the-art hospital on a hill above Panama City to treat workers dying on their canal project. Tropical plants lined the grounds. The wards were clean. To keep ants from crawling up onto patients in the night, hospital staff placed each bed leg into a small cup of fresh water. To protect the garden plants, every pot was set into a ceramic ring filled with water. Cups of standing water, under every bed, around every plant. In the rooms where workers were dying of mosquito-borne disease. The French had accidentally built a mosquito breeding farm inside the hospital that was supposed to save lives. At one point, the patient death rate reached 75%. They were culturing the very disease they were trying to treat. Nobody understood why, because nobody knew yet that mosquitoes were the carriers. Over 22,000 workers died building that canal. The project collapsed. France went bankrupt trying. When America took over the canal project in 1904, they sent in a military doctor named William Gorgas. Gorgas had already eradicated yellow fever from Cuba. He understood what the French had not. He ordered every puddle, pond, and ditch in the canal zone drained. His teams poured oil and kerosene over standing water to suffocate larvae. They fumigated homes and screened windows. He deployed 4,000 workers whose only job was catching and killing mosquitoes. Some paid 1 cent per mosquito by hand. By 1906, yellow fever was gone entirely. Malaria dropped 90%. The lesson was brutal and simple. We do not kill mosquitoes. We destroy the conditions they need to exist. Decades later, a man named Joe Potter served as governor of that same canal zone. Potter was a graduate of MIT and learned that lesson firsthand. In 1964, he met Walt Disney at the New York World's Fair. When Walt told him the plan was to build the world's largest outdoor theme park on Florida swampland, Potter already knew the playbook. Walt hired him on the spot and gave him the title of Vice President of Florida Planning. Layer 1. Before a single building went up, Potter's crews dug 47 miles of drainage canals across the entire property, 22 miles of levees, 24 water control gates. The system was designed to move water constantly, converting swamp into solid, buildable ground. But here is what makes engineers stop and stare. The entire network runs on gravity. The floodgates float open when water reaches a certain level and close when it drops. No electricity, no pumps, no human monitoring. That system activated before the park opened in 1971 and has been running continuously ever since. More than 50 years without interruption. Those canals are still called Joe's Ditches. The ferry across the Seven Seas Lagoon is named the General Joe Potter. Guests read the name and assume it is a fictional character. It is the man who made the park livable. A drainage network stretching 47 miles designed by a man who saw standing water kill 22,000 people, still running 5 decades later without a single electrical input. That is layer 1 of 5, but drainage only eliminates breeding sites in the ground. A mosquito does not need a swamp. It needs any water that sits still for 48 hours. A puddle on a rooftop gutter, a teaspoon of rain caught in a curled leaf, a shallow dip in a windowsill after a thunderstorm. Layer 1 cannot touch any of those. Layer 2. Next time we are at Magic Kingdom, look up. The rooftops have steep angles, the spires come to sharp points, the eaves curve, the facades bow outward at the base. Feel rain hit and watch it sheet off every surface instantly, channeling into drains we never notice. Every surface in the park is shaped so water cannot sit. There are no flat ledges, no recessed windowsills, no horizontal lips where even a quarter inch of water could pool for a few hours. Cinderella Castle was designed to look like a fairy tale. It was also designed to be lethal to mosquitoes. And it goes all the way to the ground. Disney World contains over 13 million individual plants. Every species was selected because its leaves shed water rather than cupping it. When it rains, water hits the leaves, rolls off, and flows into drainage channels feeding the canal system. Even the grass drains faster than standard turf, preventing puddles after Florida's daily afternoon thunderstorms. 13 million plants, hundreds of buildings, 50 years of landscaping, all engineered for one purpose the guests never think about. That is layer 2 of 5. But there is water Disney cannot drain. The Seven Seas Lagoon covers 200 acres. Cinderella Castle's moat holds water year-round. The park has dozens of lakes, ponds, and rivers. So how do we stop mosquitoes from breeding in them? Layer 3. Every body of water inside Disney World moves. Fountains churn surfaces, rides push thousands of gallons through channels every hour. Underground tubes link separate waterways, so even lakes that look still on the surface are cycling water through a filtration loop underneath. A female mosquito needs 48 hours of undisturbed water to lay eggs. Disney's water never sits still that long. And for anything that slips through, Disney stocked every waterway with mosquito fish. Their scientific name is Gambusia. They are about 2 inches long with upturned mouths evolved for surface feeding, which is exactly where larvae cluster. A single female eats up to 500 larvae per day. 500 per fish per day. They have been patrolling every pond, lake, and canal for over 50 years. That is layer 3 of 5. So far, every layer is prevention. Drain the water, shed the water, move the water, eat the larvae. But none of them stop an adult mosquito that has already hatched miles away in the surrounding wetlands and flies across Disney's property line. Drainage cannot intercept it. Architecture cannot block it. Fish cannot eat it. Something has to stop it at the perimeter before it reaches a guest. And this is the layer the title promised. Layer 4. Walt Disney was firm. No chemical pesticides near guests. He did not want families walking through insecticide or eating popcorn coated in chemical residue. So Disney's team found something that repels mosquitoes and is completely invisible to humans. Garlic. Specifically, liquid garlic extract. The active compound is allicin, a sulfur-based molecule released when garlic cells are crushed. It overwhelms a mosquito's olfactory receptors and blinds them to the carbon dioxide and body heat signals they use to find us. Disney sprays this extract across the park on a regular schedule. Here's the part that is hard to believe until we look it up. The concentration is calibrated just below the threshold of human detection. We will never smell it. Our noses literally cannot pick it up at that dilution. A mosquito sensory system, which is thousands of times more sensitive to airborne chemicals, is completely disrupted. And while invisible garlic is being sprayed across our path, Disney is simultaneously pumping pleasant fragrances through patented devices called smellitizers. Disney holds the patent on this technology. Walk past the Main Street Bakery and we smell vanilla and warm cookies. Walk past Pirates of the Caribbean and we smell salt water and damp wood. Walk down Main Street and we smell cinnamon churros. These are engineered scent injections. They enhance the guest experience. They also mask any trace of garlic that might reach human awareness. We are walking through an invisible mosquito barrier and a curated sensory experience at the same time. And we have zero idea either one is happening. It is a garlic defense calibrated below human detection, masked by patented scent machines pumping out the smell of churros. A bottle of the concentrate costs about $1. That is layer 4 of 5. 4 layers deep, and everyone is passive. Drainage, architecture, fish, garlic. None of them gather intelligence. None of them tell Disney where mosquitoes are increasing, which species arrived this week, or whether any are carrying diseases that could hospitalize a child. For a property visited by 58,000 people every day, that blind spot is not acceptable. Layer 5. Disney operates a mosquito surveillance program through the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District, formerly the Reedy Creek Improvement District, which functions as Disney's own local government. Carbon dioxide traps sit at strategic locations across all 43 square miles. Mosquitoes are drawn to carbon dioxide because it mimics the breath of a living animal. The traps capture them alive. Disney's entomological team collects the traps, freezes the specimens, and analyzes them species by species, measuring population density and determining whether females were about to reproduce. But the traps are only half the surveillance, and this is the part that makes people do a double take when they hear it. Hidden in coops around the edges of the property, those flocks of sentinel chickens are exposed to every mosquito species in the area. Mosquitoes carrying West Nile virus, Eastern equine encephalitis, or St. Louis encephalitis bite them. The chickens never get sick, but the antibodies show up in weekly blood draws. If West Nile appears in a chicken near a specific zone, the team knows exactly where infected mosquitoes are active. They deploy countermeasures before a single guest is at risk. The chickens cannot tell anyone they have been bitten, but their blood tells the scientists everything they need to know. Other Florida counties use the same technique, but Disney runs it at a scale that rivals a state health department. Then there is the Biological Air Force. BAT boxes are scattered across the property. A single brown bat eats more than 1,000 insects per hour. Purple martin nesting boxes are disguised as decorative elements. Parasitic wasps eat mosquito larvae exclusively and die off before they ever bother a guest. Carbon dioxide traps, frozen specimens are analyzed by species. Sentinel chickens whose blood reveals invisible outbreaks. A private air force of bats, wasps, and dragonflies. An intelligence network spanning 43 square miles, twice the size of Manhattan, running in real time. That is layer 5 of 5 layers. Gravity-fed canals from a man who saw standing water kill 22,000 people. Architecture engineered down to the leaf. Mosquito fish consume 500 larvae per day. Invisible garlic is masked by patented scent machines. And a surveillance network uses sentinel chickens and a biological air force. None of it required a single drop of chemical pesticide. Florida mosquitoes carry West Nile, dengue, and Eastern equine encephalitis, a virus with a 30% fatality rate. The 5 layers kept all of it away from guests for nearly half a century, until 2016. That summer, the Zika virus reached Florida. Zika can cause severe birth defects in unborn children. For the first time in 45 years, Disney's 5 layers were not enough. Disney deployed emergency measures. Insect repellent stations appeared in every land of every park. Hotel rooms were stocked with aerosol cans of Cutter Backwoods repellent. Signs went up across the resort. The My Disney Experience app pushed notifications about mosquito prevention. And at night, Disney began chemically fogging common areas with a product called Scourge, manufactured by Bayer. They even filled in stagnant water at the abandoned River Country Water Park, a closed attraction quietly collecting water nobody had thought to drain. For the first time since Joe Potter dug his ditches, Disney broke Walt's rule. The 5 layers were built to stop mosquitoes from reaching guests. They were never built to stop what the mosquitoes were carrying. Every defense has a gap. It was never built to cover. But for routine mosquito control, the 5 layers hold, and almost all of it can be replicated at home for under $50. Eliminate every source of standing water within 50 feet of the house. Bird baths, clogged gutters, plant saucers, old tires, bottle caps. Drop mosquito fish into any pond or water feature. Most county mosquito control districts provide them free. Switch porch lights to warm spectrum LED bulbs 2,700 Kelvin or lower. Mosquitoes navigate toward UV light. Warm LED bulbs produce almost none. Buy garlic barrier concentrate online. About $1 a bottle. Mix with water, spray the yard perimeter. Lasts about 2 weeks. Install a bat house at least 15 feet up. A single colony will clear the local mosquito population faster than any chemical treatment. Total cost, under $50. The same system protecting 58,000 people a day, scaled to a single backyard. Walt Disney did not invent mosquito control. He hired a man who learned it from one of the darkest chapters in engineering history. 22,000 workers died in Panama because the people trying to save them accidentally bred mosquitoes inside the hospital. Joe Potter understood what that meant. He spent the rest of his career making sure it never happened again. Potter passed away in 1988. His canals still run, his ditches still drain, and every guest who walks into Magic Kingdom without a single bite is living inside the system he built. A lot of what we cover here costs less than what it replaced, works as described, and was left behind not because it stopped working, but because nobody connected the pieces. If that is the kind of content that matters to you, like and subscribe. It is the easiest way to make sure it keeps showing up. Now, there is a building we walk into almost every day that uses 4 invisible layers to keep every single insect out. The first layer was not invented by a scientist or a doctor. It was discovered by flour merchants in ancient Persia who kept it as a military trade secret for centuries. And the third layer is something a janitor puts down every single shift without knowing it is a weapon. That video is next.